And welcome to another edition of Youth on the Go here on Vaughan Radio. I am Zanella Claxton from the Department of Education. Of course, DeAndre isn't in studio with us this morning as we are practicing physical distancing. And so I am in the studio today, though. That's a good thing. And I want to say a special good morning to Melissa. I know that you missed me tremendously. And of course, all of you were still able to listen in while I phoned in, but this morning I am in the studios, and so I will be going through some of the updates as per usual to ensure that we are all on the same page. However, if you have any additional questions, feel free to call, and I will ensure that I give you a response to your questions and concerns. Our goal is to make sure that all of our listeners, all of our parents, our students understand what is happening as it relates to education. All right, so we also have a story, so if we have an opportunity, we can share that later on, but we want to go through some of the questions, some of the concerns that you may have, that and with the hope of assisting you or clarifying as much as possible. One of the most frequently asked questions, of course, has been when will school open? And for those of you who have not seen the broadcast, the Honorable Sean K. Richards, Minister of Education for the federal government, as well as Deputy Prime Minister, released a statement last night, and we are still being guided by the COVID-19 task force, by the Chief Medical Officer, and the relevant authorities in relation to health and the safety of our students. And so we do not have a confirmed date. We don't have a date for when school will reopen. So parents who have been asking, we will continue to guide you, but the physical spaces will not. We don't have a date for when the physical spaces will reopen, but of course, education will continue. We would have gone through over the past few weeks some of the things that you can do, the places you can, the websites you can go to, the activities that you're expected to do while the students are not physically at school. The teachers are currently training on the learning management system, which is Microsoft Teams, and for most part, those who have already been trained, they have been able to grasp it quickly, and they're navigating it as best as they can. They seem to be having a lot of fun with it, and I want to commend and applaud the teachers, those who have been trained and those who have not yet been trained but have taken the initiative to go ahead and access the platform. I want to commend all of you for a job well done, because the teachers and have been really open-minded. They've been working because in their minds they really just want to interact with you, our students, and so they have been working hard to make sure that that becomes a reality. I want to also say right now, before we take a very short break, I want to say kudos to our principals. Our principals have been guiding the process. They've been working hard, and let me tell you, remember that we're all not digital natives, and so some of us have to learn to navigate the system. Most children are digital natives. They grew up in the age of cell phones, and they're always on their tablets, and so it's normal for them to click and move around. It's not as normal for some adults, and so, but there has been total buy-in from our principals and of course all of our education officials at the Department of Education, and so they have been going around navigating, trying to make sure that they get it, that even if they're not digital natives, that they understand what's happening so that they can support you, the students. The platform is not difficult to navigate at all. And so for students, some have likened it to a social media that you're always on. It's easy to access, easy to click around. You just read the different tabs and you get through it. So it's not difficult to navigate at all. And so we can't wait for you to be able to join us. Parents, once the teachers are trained, we will start distributing the credentials for the learning management system. I want to make it clear, because some persons are not so clear on it, that yes, we have a plan in place for students to interact with their teachers via a learning management system in which we will be able to capture grades, attendance, and all that we need to capture. There is a misconception that Flow Study is the learning management system. It is not the learning management system. It's a self-paced platform where students can work at their own pace. They can go in and move around, keep doing stimulating activities, but it is not a learning management system where the teachers will get grades and the teachers will make the assignments. The assignments are there, they're pre-populated, but the Microsoft Teams platform will be the learning management system that we'll be using. And on that platform, you get to submit your assignments, your teachers get to give feedback, you get your grades, your parents can see your grades. So that is what we are making sure that we have in place for you. So once again, the Flow Study platform is not the learning management system. I know some of you have heard about learning management systems such as Google Classroom, which is very popular. You've heard of Edmodo, and you've heard of some others, but Microsoft Teams is in the same family of learning management systems. The benefit of Microsoft Teams is that it brings everything to one space. So, you know, if, for example, if you're on Edmodo, you would have to use another platform to do video calls, and you hear a lot about Zoom and Zoom and Zoom. Microsoft Teams has a video meeting capability set exactly like Zoom. So you don't have to go from Zoom to this, to that, to that. No. When you're on Microsoft Teams, parents, you'll be able to, teachers will be able to have the video call feature, or they will be able to speak to the students using audio, just like you can on Zoom or Skype or any of those systems. And so what we tried to do, and the process, you know, it was very critical for us to take our time in the selection, because we wanted what is best for students, one, and we wanted something that is sustainable. And that just means that when COVID-19 is finished, students can still use it. This is not a reaction. We're not reacting. We're trying to respond while making sure that in 2021, in 2022, in 2023, we can still have something that students can use outside of their textbooks. That doesn't mean that we're going to eliminate the classroom setting, but think about the future where students, even when they are at home or they have homework, instead of having to, if the class runs out of time, the teacher can just upload the homework and the students can access it. So we're thinking futuristically, and if you're going to build a plan in that's going to last beyond the COVID-19, it's not going to happen overnight. However, it's going to be sustainable enough that, and doing the proper training and the proper research and all of that allows your children to have continued access. And many parents have complained, we don't see enough integration of ICTs. We don't see, it's the same as it was back when I was in school. And so what we're doing is to make sure that we answer those calls. We heard those during the curriculum review process. We heard those, and so we wanted to make sure we simultaneously do that while at the same time providing a platform for students to be able to use now during closure, but something, as I said, that even if they're in class, they can also use the same platform. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back.
From Queen City, Nevis, this is the powerhouse of the Eastern Caribbean, Vaughn Radio.
It's time, come on, rise and shine. You know, I know we're gonna have a great time. And now we're past this quickly, you don't wanna miss it. So turn up the radio, it's Youth on the Go. Youth on the Go. Oh, let's start the show. Oh, Youth on the Go. Oh, let's start the show. Oh, let's go. I will learn new things. I will be creative. Grab your gears, let's gather around. An adventure is always waiting. This storytelling is for us, and we always know what's happening. We act, we play, we dance, we sing from 9 to 10 on Saturday morning. Youth on the go. Oh, let's start the show. Oh, youth on the go. Oh, let's start the show. Oh, let's go.
Let's go. Good morning to all of our radio listeners and of course to our viewers via Vaughn Radio's Facebook and YouTube channels. Welcome to another edition of Youth on the Go here on Vaughn Radio. Every Saturday morning we join you to bring you updates, to bring you activities, to bring you events, anything that relates to education and the development of our students. And this Saturday is no different. I am Zanella Claxton from the Department of Education, and it is a pleasure for me to be here in studio this morning, bringing you some updates, bringing some explanations. If at any point you have further questions, please feel free to call 469-1616, 469-1700, and I will endeavor to respond to your questions so that we have everyone on the same page, that we don't have so many misconceptions. I know we've been bringing updates for the last 5 or 6 weeks or so as it relates to COVID-19, and we've always been on air bringing you updates as it relates to education, at least for the last 2 years or so. And so we want to make sure that parents are understanding what's happening, the community is understanding what's happening, and we get working towards the goal of getting everyone to a place of comfort as best as possible. Another frequently asked question, while we are going through some of the concerns that parents have, another frequently asked question, another concern, has been in relation to internet and devices. That one has come up a lot, and so I want to also take this opportunity this morning to address that concern. In relation to internet and the devices, what if students don't have devices, or what if they don't have internet at home for whatever reason? The same obtains for teachers. In early March, we conducted a survey, and it was a very important survey. All parents were expected to complete that survey, and as well as teachers completed that survey as a way for us to capture the data that we needed to proceed and to make the best decision in the best interest of all. And through that survey, we were able to capture the names of the individuals who did not have internet and who did not have devices at home. Now, so we have that data, and we've had that data since then when we sent the surveys out. However, we attempted to ensure that we built in a bit of a safety net to ensure that we, in case, maybe somebody wasn't at school that day or something along that line, something happened while your survey didn't get to us. However, we will not be able to accommodate everyone on the island claiming that they need a device or that they need internet resources. So let me take you through the device process. So we would have had the survey, and so the responses will be based on the survey. So based on the survey, that's how we went about placing or making the decisions around how many we needed. we marked it up a bit. And so anyone who was missed should make the necessary contacts. However, there is no guarantee. I can't sit here and guarantee that, yes, you will receive a device. I want to make it clear because I know lots of people are saying, you know, the Department of Education or the Ministry of Education will be giving away devices for you to use. These devices are not for personal use, and they will have to be returned post COVID-19. The individuals who check these devices out and they are on loan, if you check these devices out, you will have to return them in good condition based on the contract. So there will be a contract that you will have to sign to say that you understand basically that this is not yours to keep and that you will take care of it and return it in good condition. Okay? So it is not for your person, for you to take forever and for you to abuse and drop and break, because once again, it makes no sense for us to just react. And so as part of the response, these devices, once they're returned, will be used in the classrooms for all students to be able to access and to be able to continue, as I said, using online resources, because it's an investment. It's an investment in the future. It's an investment for all students. And so I wanted to clarify that because I know that some persons, you know, it's easy for us to misunderstand. So the devices will not be for personal use. They will not remain permanently at your home. Whichever comes first, whether it is end of the COVID-19 or end of the school term, whichever comes first, they will have to be returned. Okay, following that, they will be used in this physical space. Once we return to the physical space, they'll be used there. So students will continue to be able to access them, but we can't have just a few students having at home long term and not all. And even if you had for all, I would never recommend that, because you want to make sure that you get the best use out of the devices. And we have encouraged our teachers to integrate technology. And this is a wonderful platform which aligns with our 2017-2021 sector plan. See, I'm talking 2017, that's years back, 2021. So either way, with or without, even if we didn't get into the COVID-19 pandemic and we didn't have to respond at this time, it was still already written in that we would have to integrate technology more, have teachers doing more technology. So we were on our way, we were on the path to it. We just had to speed up some of the elements on the back end. We also, as you know, because we've spoken extensively about it, we're in the middle of a COVID curriculum writing process, which started in January 2019. And as part of that process, integration of technology is also important. And so we are just aligning everything right now to make sure everything lines up. So the children will forever be able to access the devices, well, close to forever, for a very long time. They'll be able to access the devices, but they will be accessing them and using them at home. Sometimes, you know, you look at the TV and you see students in different countries and they're on the devices. That's exactly what our goal is, to ensure that they can access at school, okay, when they get returned to school. But in the interim, the devices will be available to those persons in the first instance who indicated via the survey that they did not possess a device, and so we will make the necessary responses there. In terms of distribution, because we have the information, the parents' information, we will contact persons individually to let you know when you should collect the device, because we do not want issues with physical distancing. We don't want to have, you know, a mad rush coming to the collection site, and so we will make the necessary contacts. The office will be open next week from 8 to 1. In the first instance, the office will be open, Department of Ministry of Education at Marion Heights, from 8 to 1, starting on Tuesday. And so the number, the direct line, 469 4651. It slipped me there for a second. So you can also give us a call at that number, and we will try our best to assist during the times I said in the first instance from 8 to 1. All right, okay, we're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back.
When VON vibrates, the whole Caribbean must shake.
860 AM, the Powerhouse.
It's time, come on, rise and shine. You know, I know we're gonna have a great time. And now we're past this quickly, you don't wanna miss it. So turn up the radio, it's Youth on the Go. Youth on the Go. Oh, let's start the show. Oh, Youth on the Go. Oh, let's start the show. Oh, let's go. I will learn new things. I will be creative. Grab your girls, let's gather around. An adventure is always waiting. There's storytelling news for us, and we always know what's happening. We act, we play, we dance, we sing from 9 to 10 on Saturday morning. Youth on the go. Oh, let's start the show. Oh, youth on the go. Oh, let's start the show. Oh, let's go.
Let's go. Good morning to all of our radio listeners, our viewers via Von Radio's Facebook and YouTube channels, and welcome to another edition of Youth on the Go here on Von Radio. Every Saturday we join you to bring you updates, activities, events, opportunities for our students. This Saturday, of course, is no different. Well, I guess it's a little bit different because I'm back in the studio and I'm happy. Other than that, it's no different. We have sought to bring you updates for the last few weeks in relation to COVID-19. Prior to that, we were here still bringing you updates, but of course on general education and what's happening at our schools and all of that. So it is a pleasure for us to be here. I want to say good morning once again to DeAndre, as he is safe at home. Good morning, DeAndre. I hope you're having a good time and that you are reading and working hard and doing all that you can to ensure that you maintain your learning.
Okay, I wasn't sure if you were taking questions pertaining to the learning
That's sure, yes.
system or not, but a caller called to ask what about the printing of the same documents for the classes. In the event, I'm assuming in the event that somebody doesn't have a computer to gain access to the classes, what about maybe the teacher or whoever printing the material and I guess dropping it out for giving it to the parent for the student?
Okay, so we always have to differentiate, and even in a regular setting, you always have to have options. And so that's an excellent question, and I thank you so much, caller, for that. So for those students who need that support, that will be indicated to the teacher. So because we are doing it systemically, it's difficult to navigate that systemically. But if they can indicate to the teachers, this is a preference or this is a need, then that will be done. And we're also working on doing something similar for the younger children, the early childhood ages, to have those resources ready for them. Until we put something else in place, all of the distribution will have to take place at the office. But any parents who have difficulties with any printing or anything along that line, can indicate to your class teacher, and the teacher will make the necessary provisions for your students. They'll contact the principal and we'll put everything in place. And that will be communicated by school in terms of when to pick up, when to drop off, and all of that. I'm so grateful for that call, because that question, because it is a legitimate one. It's an excellent question. Thank you so much. All right, and yes, I will take questions. So if you have questions, 469-1616, 469-1700, and we will try to address them as best we can. Okay, I know that some students are still working on their learning packets and some are finished. If you're finished, you have two options. There is the Flow Study option. Once again, Flow Study is pre-populated. It's a regional site. It has, for the primary, it has math, language arts, and science, as social studies varies from island to island. And for the secondary students, it has, for most part, most of the subjects, but some of the teachers have been working with their classes individually to to ensure that those subjects not covered, are the students still get the support that they need. Good morning, caller.
Good morning.
How are you?
Oh, good morning. I can hear
You're
you.
on the air. Yes.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
My son attends Charlestown Secondary,
Mhm.
and he's other 5 students as well in the same class
Okay.
who didn't have a teacher.
Okay.
What would happen in that process with getting the information that he needs and the other 5 students as well?
Okay.
Because that's my biggest concern right now.
Okay, thank you. I suspect I know which class it is, and so by the time we issue the credentials, things will be in place for that class. I know exactly which class you're referring to. So you will get contacted by the school.
Okay.
Through the principal, you will get the credentials. Okay?
Okay. One.
All right, because I know of that situation, so we already have measures for that. Thank you so much. All right. Okay, so remember, if you have questions, 469-1616, 469-1700. I'm taking note to make sure that I follow up on anything that is brought up this morning, and also that we cover as much as possible to make sure the parents are clear, and I know that we don't want you to not be clear. Good morning.
Good morning. I have a question for the PEO.
Yes. You're on air and you're speaking with her.
Yeah. How would you cater to the slow students, those who have problems with literacy and numeracy?
Now, students with literacy and numeracy they're not significantly different from any other student. A lot of times it's about pace, the type of material that you present, the size, the font. Sometimes they need some extra support. In fact, even our students at CBIS, Cicely Brown Integrated, the leaders there are intending to use Microsoft Teams, but you just make sure that the activities cater to those students. If they need physical materials, like the previous caller was asking about physical materials, so some students might need physical materials to support what is on the screen, we'll make those available. However, the teacher will have to advise, because of course we don't interact at the department with every student every day, and so the teacher would have to advise that these students need these specific accommodations. But struggling with literacy and numeracy, lots of times using online platforms also help, because it allows them to be able to navigate at their own pace. Once again, it's all about the presentation, how fast you're going, or, as I said, the visuals. And then some students, of course, you have to always cater to their learning styles as well. So with the knowledge that a child struggles with literacy or numeracy, but if the child is a visual learner, then you present everything in various colors or with pictures. If the child is auditory, that means they learn more by listening. You may do readings for them to listen to and go along with audio to go with the visual, because that's how they would get it. If the child is kinesthetic, that means they have to move around. that then you put the activities for the same topic that match that. So, as I said, a platform doesn't discount any child. It's always, and even in the classroom, it's always about the presentation of the material. I hope that
thank you.
helps.
Okay, thank you very much. Good answer.
Yes. Okay, thank you so much. And as I said, we're really trying to address the needs of the parents. And every Saturday, I encourage all of you to tune in from 9 to 10. Even when we're not in studio, we try to bring updates. But we made sure that we're in studio today because we just don't want our parents to have questions and not have a place to answer them. And so if you have a question in relation to education, if you have a question in relation to where we are going, I'm available to answer. And any answer that I don't have, I will definitely go and find the answer to come back to you with. But the numbers to call this morning, 469-1616, 469-1700. In relation to our younger learners, we want to make sure that we also support them. And so as we speak, I know the early childhood team, the preschool teachers, and even the nursery to some extent, they've been sending out the schedules that they usually follow to help the parents to understand that children need routine. The preschools some of them have packets that the parents are working with. Many of them have been sending activities for the parents to work with daily, and we've seen some of the results of that. Good morning. Okay. We've seen some of the results of that, and we are continuing to work to support our youngest learners as well. So we're trying to capture the entire system. And listeners, I want you to understand that this is not onboarding one school. If we were doing one school, we would have been done in one day. Okay? But you're looking at over, I think it's close to 40 schools, about 9,000 students and 1,000 something teachers. It's not a small feat, and we're not doing something to stop a gap. We want to do something that is sustainable. Good morning.
Good morning. I am a grandparent, and I have a concern. I have a grandson who's going to 2A3. I want to know how could I get work for him.
Did he get his packet before?
No, he did not get to go to.
Oh, he didn't get to collect it. Okay, the school has been open. Parents have been collecting from. Do you mind if I ask which secondary school? You don't have to.
He did not get to go to school that afternoon.
Which secondary school is it? Just
Charlestown.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is that I'm going to let you stay on air, but I'll let Melissa take you offline just to get your contact number.
Yes.
Or better yet, if you call back at 10 o'clock, I'll be off air. I'll take your contact number, and I'll arrange with you. I'll speak to the administration at the school, because parents have collected packets if they didn't get them, because they have them there arranged already by class. So it's just a matter of collecting by class. So if you could and let me know, and I will definitely arrange with you and coordinate for you to be able to get it probably on Tuesday.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Okay, thank you so much. And just like the caller who just called, there were some students who may have been absent. The schools remained. I know that the principals went back a few days, but after the closure itself, they were there doing some, tidying up and packing up, and they were able to distribute. And I know also that they were there last week as well during some of the open days, doing some administrative work, and they have been distributing to parents who can make contact. If you have similar situations, please touch base with your school's principal and or form teacher or whomever you have the contact for, and form teacher, grade teacher, they will help you to be able to collect those. I know that there have been teachers who have reached out to us. there's some of the packets, some of the schools, the packets are at the office as well, Department of Education. And so just reach out and we will definitely be able to serve you. We really have put the work in behind the scenes to make sure that our students are successful. And so we will accommodate you as best we can as long as you make contact. And it's important that contact is made because that is the only way we can appropriately respond where there are gaps. We will not catch everything, you know, those students who are absent or for whatever reason, we would have to find a way to narrow down. And if we missed some, I know some of them we would have reached out to after and we might have missed some. So if we miss the students, that's not a big deal, but we would have to know. So parents, it's a big deal if you don't let us know. That's when it becomes a big deal. But it's easy for us to compensate. Also, if you go to education.gov.kn, that is the Federal Ministry of Education website, there are actually additional resources there for parents to access. So when you've run out of everything, and if you, the difficulty here is if you don't have a printer, you might have, they could read them on the screen and write them out. That's the only potential difficulty, but information is there. Additional practice activities are there for you to be able to access as well, okay? So, as I said, we are really trying to make sure we have everything in place, as many things in place, to serve you, to serve our students, and I'm loving the questions this morning. And as I said, I'm saying to you over and over again, everything that we are explaining to you is aligned with our 2017-2021 sector plan, which means that the work has been in place and ongoing for a long time, and so it was not as difficult to embed the immediate response to COVID-19. The biggest thing has been that we can't take us off our path and waste resources. We have to make sure that the resources are invested in the students. It's an investment. So in responding, it's always important not to react but to respond. And so in responding, it's not a one-time gap filler. It's a sustainable, long-term response that will help our students not this month, not next month, but for the next 5 years until we continue to serve them and improve on our responses. And so, once again, if you have a question, parents, about anything related to education, I am here. I will be available to answer for the next 10 minutes or so. And the numbers to call are 469-1616, 469-1700. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm not bad, thanks.
Okay, good.
I have a son in sixth form, 5A1. He's taking physics, but he was not. There are 2 essays that they need to be completed.
Okay.
And, you know, physics would be like a lab thing. So I was just trying to find out if
there's
anything that could be sorted out for that, to get that done.
Can you call me back at a little after? I'll stay around for about 5 minutes after 10 o'clock, and I'll collect your information, and we will definitely respond to that, and then reach out to the other 2 students in the class.
Okay.
Thank you so much. You're welcome.
All right.
Okay. Wonderful.
I was going to ask a question,
Yes.
just to clarify.
Yes.
So in the event that the student hasn't up to this day received any type of material from his or her school, is it just this a simple thing of going to the school or contacting the teacher and asking them if the package is there for them?
They're there. The packages are there because they were prepared before school closed.
Okay.
So I know that some students, some parents have reached out, and it's important for us to, as I said, reach out instead of staying at home and being disturbed, because you're worried your child is not getting, and in our minds, children are covered, but it's a matter of they were covered in theory because it was prepared for them. They just may have missed school that day, and so. Just reach out to the principal and they will arrange, or the class teacher. Most parents have class chats, Some don't, and if you don't, that's okay. Just reach out to the principal and they will make the arrangements, because we've had these discussions. Our principals, let me tell you, they are some serious troopers right now, and I tip my hat to our principals this morning once again. Our education officer for the school, if you can't get the principal, each school has an education officer, and I can go ahead and announce the names of the education officers as well for each school, so that you would know who your schools, you should know already, but in case you don't know, Joyston Liebert Primary, your principal is Miss Barbara Hendrickson, and your education officer is Mr. Shefton Liebert. Elizabeth Pemberton Primary, your principal is Miss Chanel Pemberton, and your education officer is Mrs. Teres Dorr. Ivor Walters Primary, your principal is Mrs. Janice Whitaker Richards, and your education officer is Mr. Shefton Liebert. Cicely Brown Integrated, your principal is Mrs. Violet Clapp, but right now we have Mrs. Jennifer Liebert. She is acting in that role right now, and so your education officer is Mrs. Teres Dorr. Montessori Academy, your principal is Mrs. Denise Morgan. Your education officer is Mr. Shefton Liebert. Nevis Academy, your principal is Dr. Andrea Busu, and your education officer is Mrs. Teres Dorr. Charlestown Secondary, your principal is Mr. Joanne Williams, and your education officer is Miss Latoya Jeffers. Charlestown Primary, your principal is Mrs. Cheryl Haynes, and your education officer is Miss Londa Brown. Maud Cross Prep, your superintendent is Mrs. Ellen Grant, and your education officer is Mrs. Avril Elliott. St. Thomas's Primary, your principal is Miss Narlene Smithen, and your education officer is Mrs. Avril Elliott. Violet O. Jeffers Nichols Primary, your principal is Mrs. Shay Wilkin, and your education officer is Miss Atalia Jeffers. St. James Primary, your principal is Miss Danielle Wallace, and your education officer is Miss Atalia Jeffers. Gingerland Secondary, your principal is Mrs. Lynette Williams, and your education officer is Miss Latoya Jeffers. And at the early childhood level, we have our early childhood team. Mrs. Florence Smithen is the education officer responsible for all early childhood centers, and we have Mrs. Donnie Lanz. She is our coordinator for early childhood, Mrs. Donnie Lanz, and we have Mrs. Brenda Williams, and she is a resource for early childhood as well. So she works with our early childhood centers, as does Mrs. Lanz, and Mrs. Smithen is the education officer responsible.
And in the event that they don't have any point of contact for these, let's say a cell phone number for the principals, is it safe to just call you guys at the education department and get that information?
Definitely. So if you can't get the contact and you have further issues, make sure that you touch base with us at the Department of Education as well. As I said, we will be there from Tuesday, and you can always send an email, education@niagov.com, education@niagov.com, and that will, of course, take you to one of our admin staff who will be able to pick those up. And even during the entire closure, they've been checking mails throughout the day. And so it's, as I said, it's not very difficult to reach out to us, but it's just very difficult when we don't know that there is an issue. And so we want to make sure, and I'm so glad that we have this opportunity this morning, Melissa, to really let the parents know that we're here to support you, and you're not operating in a vacuum. The direct line for the office, once again, so when you call, you can call through admin once admin is open and the office down at Social Security Building is open. But you can also call the direct line, 469-4651, 469-4651. And so we'll be able to answer your questions and support you and take your information. And if we don't have the answer, if the admin person who answers doesn't have the answer right away, they know, just like they do during the regular school year, they know how to go about getting the answers and getting back to you. And so we'll have everyone on high alert, because we know that we're serving a large population, but we don't want parents to feel left out. We don't want you to feel confused, and we don't want you to feel that we want you to be teachers either. We want to make sure that we are supporting you, that we're providing everything that you need. And so we are definitely looking to ensure that we put measures, we have the measures in place. Measures have been in place. And I think I missed one school, so I want to apologize. I missed Nevis International Secondary School. Nevis International Secondary, your principal, Miss Joy Napier, and your education officer, Miss Latoya Jeffers. And so I'm sorry about that. Definitely, my humblest apologies. I read down my list a little too fast and skipped one, and I'm so glad that I was able to go back and get that for you and get that information out. Once again, the numbers for the Department of Education, 469, the number 469-4651, that takes you directly to my office, okay? If you call through Premier's Ministry, through admin down at Social Security, they will transfer the call to us. So that's fine. That's 469-5521. That's the administrative office down at Premier's Ministry. Calling directly to Department of Education, 469-4651. We'll be open next week from 8 to 1 in the first instance, and if we change those office hours, we'll definitely let you know. Please make sure that you tune in next week and to Youth on the Go from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. to ensure that we get the information out to you, that we clarify any issues with you and anything that you're encountering, just to ensure that you're getting the necessary updates and the correct information. We want you to get the correct information so that you know how to plan and how to arrange your time and what the expectations are. As I said, we don't want to make any parent uncomfortable. We don't want to do anything that will cause you, the only thing that we can't do, we can't come into your homes, but anything that we can do that is possible, we will try our best to accommodate, to support, and to ensure that our children are doing well and that they're being successful. I want to assure you at the end of the show that the children, the fifth formers, the teachers have been doing sessions for most part if they are behind, and if there is an issue or concern outside of that, please contact us. Generally, on the general, normal, regular, traditional calendar, on the last week of the second term, when they come back on the first week of the third term, they stay in school for 1 week, and then they would go home to study. So the teachers generally try to finish all of their content by the last week of the second term, so that when they come back for the 1 week in the third term, it's just a quick review. And so for those who didn't finish, they would have reached out for most part and had sessions with the students. The complaint was that many of the students did not show up to the sessions to get those few final sessions in, and so we have to take a look at that as well. And so, but I want to say thank you to you, all the parents who called in this morning. Let everyone know that they can tune in on Saturday mornings once again from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. here on Vaughan Radio for Youth on the Go, and we will definitely be bringing you updates and bringing you the correct information, material, and supporting as much as we can. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful week and a great holiday on Monday.
Sugar City St. Kitts.